Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yasharal's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, as always, you know how we do by now, we must give all praises to Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Waha, Rakah, Kodash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women. All praises to you too. And the camps and the solo brothers going out there making videos, edifying the body, pushing it out on social media and all outlets possible, pushing the truth according to scriptures. All praises. Now, what I'm going to touch on today is the book of John, chapter 5 and verse 18. Now, there's a specific reason why I'm touching on this verse today, because a couple weeks back, we had some Christians come up to our campsite where we teach in Brixton on the Sabbath, which is the Saturday. And, they were making some claims. And one of the claims they made was that about the Sabbath, you didn't have to keep it, and how YAHAWASHI, the one you call Jesus Christ, broke the Sabbath. Now, also, there's a pastor called Pastor Gino Jennings, which keeps his church just like most Christians on the Sunday, claiming that you don't have to keep the Sabbath. When you go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and 8, it tells you to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Then you go to Exodus 31, if I remember, and verse 16. I'll put it on the screen, but I think it's Exodus 31 and 16, where it says to keep the Sabbath, and it's for a perpetual covenant, meaning everlasting. So you can't come and now say the Sunday is the new Sabbath. Worst of all, you're saying YAHAWASHI broke the Sabbath, which is what Gino Jennings has said, which Gino Jennings did say. And also these two Christians that came up where we teach on the Sabbath said that also that YAHAWASHI broke the Sabbath. Now, the verse they like to use to say he broke the Sabbath is the verse I'm tackling, which is John chapter 5, verse 18. Now, when you read that verse, it does seem to say that. But that's because you're reading without understanding. And that's because you're not going precept upon precept. And even in the same verse, if you read above, you'll realize something in that verse, when it comes to verse 18, where it says, and, not only did he break the Sabbath, which we're going to tackle to show you that the Messiah did not break the Sabbath. I mean, when you even go to 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21, 21 into 22, I'll read that in the lesson if I've got time. But when you even go there, it shows you that the Messiah left us an example how we should walk, who did no sin, showing that the Messiah never sinned. So he didn't break the Sabbath, because remember, sin is the transgression of the law. And one of the laws said you had to keep the Sabbath holy, a perpetual covenant. That's a law in the book of Exodus. So showing you that, even the Bible tells you that the Messiah didn't sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, neither was any deceit found in his mouth. So how can you come and say now that he broke the Sabbath? Because when you go into the law, to break the Sabbath is a sin. And we know, like nowadays, yes, there are some people that have to work on the Sabbath. That's their contract. And we're still in captivity. So, you may have to work on the Sabbath. But what you do, so you don't buy at lunchtime or whatever, you bring a packed lunch. And, like on your break while you're eating your lunch, you can, go, meditate on scriptures, or you even can, watch one of the brothers' videos while you're eating the lunch. So you can stay in the spirit, shall we say. So, there are things you can do for those who cannot keep the Sabbath holy because we are in captivity, and some brothers have to work on the Sabbath. But those who don't, what you don't do now is go and get overtime like you're chasing money, and then you're working on the Sabbath, and now you're now breaking the Sabbath willingly because you didn't have to work, but you chose to because you're chasing money. Now that's a different kettle of fish altogether. But nevertheless, let's get into this lesson, and let me show you that you don't understand that scripture, because what you do by you using John chapter 5 verse 18 to say the Messiah broke the Sabbath, now you're making the Bible contradict itself, because in 1 Peter it shows you the Messiah did no sin. So that means he never broke the Sabbath. But we're going to go into some lesson. We're going to go into some scriptures, Salaki. And I'm going to break that verse down to show you exactly what that verse is saying. So you are in no illusion. So you cannot use that verse to say the Messiah broke the Sabbath. And it does say something else in that verse. When I read it, you'll see. It says something else in that very verse. So you cannot use that verse to say he broke the Sabbath, because you have to take that verse in the context it was written in. And I'll show you that. So without further ado, I've got my timer, and we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Boom! We're away. Here we go. Let's read that verse first, and then we're going to revisit it and break it down. Watch this. John chapter 5 and verse 18, and it reads, "Therefore the Jews sought more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God." I'm going to read it as it's written for this lesson, just to show you certain things, yeah? So that's the verse right there. So there, John chapter 5 verse 18 shows that, I'll read it again, yeah? "Therefore the Jews sought more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God," which is the Most High. So that's the verse right there. Now, let's revisit that verse, and let's see if he actually did break the Sabbath, yeah? So, let's go back there. First and foremost, John chapter 5 verse 18, and it reads, "Therefore the Jews sought more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath." Now let's stop there. So that's the claim. He had not only broken the Sabbath. Now, watch this, yeah? I'm going to quickly jump to, because YAHAWASHI would have known it was a sin to break the Sabbath. Now let's quickly jump to the book of Numbers. So I want to show you something there back in the wilderness, like where there was a man that was found gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. Now this is Numbers chapter 15 and verse 32. Watch this. Numbers chapter 15, and I'll take it at verse 32, and it says, "And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness," see, now this is when they're out of captivity, so now they can keep their laws, yeah? See, there's the difference, yeah? So they're not under anybody. They can now, because remember now Moses is leading them. So they're under, like when, the laws that the Most High had given to Moses to give to the children of Israel. And Moses is under them same laws too. He's not exempt from it. Now watch this, yeah? I'll just read it again. Numbers chapter 15 verse 32. "And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day." So this man was gathering sticks. Maybe he was going to make a fire, who knows? But nevertheless, he was gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, which is unlawful to do any work on the Sabbath. Yeah? Now watch this, verse 33. "And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto all the congregation." Verse 34, and they put him inward, so they bound him in makeshift prison, whatever, they would have, made shift at that time. And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done unto him. Now, when you read on, actually, you know what? Let me just read 35 to get, watch this. Numbers chapter 15, verse 35. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. Yeah? So you see that? The man shall be surely put to death, and all the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. So basically, that's what happened. So you see, that was the judgment for breaking the Sabbath. He was put to death. So Yahawashi would have known this, that it was unlawful to work on the Sabbath, right? Now, then, for that reason now, this was implemented. Watch this. Numbers chapter 15 and verse 37. Watch this. And the Lord and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, verse 38, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generation, that they put upon the fringe of the border a ribbon of blue. So this came in. Now here's just one of my t-shirts. Here, I'm just going to show you one of my t-shirts. So this was implemented to have fringes in the border of your garment and put upon the fringe a ribbon of blue. Yeah? So this was implemented. Why was this implemented? It said throughout your generation. This is why. Watch this, yeah? Verse 39, and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a-whoring. So that's why these fringes were implemented. So what you do, you'd be wearing your fringes throughout your generation on the border of your garment. So whatever you wear, whatever your garment is today, you put these fringes with a ribbon of blue on it. So the whole purpose of that is like, you know, we're human. You're going to have some thoughts or things you might do or about to do. You'll look upon your fringes and you'll remember, I'm an Israelite. I shouldn't be doing this, be it on the Sabbath day or whatever other sin it may be. And that's to remind you to keep the commandments. It's a reminder. That's the whole purpose of the fringes. So, and Yahawashi would have known this. Now, when we jump back, let's jump back to John chapter 5. But we're going to take it from verse 6 to show you that I'm going to show you something. Actually, I don't want to explain it. I'm going to show you first. So watch this, yeah? This is John, and we're going to read it right back into verse 10, and then we're going to read past it to show you something. Watch this, yeah? John chapter 5 and verse 6, and it reads, when Yahawashi, which is Jesus, saw him, there was a man, yeah? Saw him lie and knew that he had, listen to this, saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case. He saith unto him, wilt thou be made whole? So he saw a man that was lame or withered, yeah? So, and he was lying there for a while. So this is just the context. I can't read the whole chapter because time won't permit. So this is just the context. So Yahawashi approached the man because he noticed he's been there a long time, lying there. So Yahawashi asked this man, wilt thou be made whole? Now watch this, verse 7 of John chapter 5. The impotent man answered him, sir, I have no man. It says, when the water is troubled, to put me in the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Now this was the water there that could make you, clean and whole. So as he's saying that, as he went to go in, somebody gets in before him when the water stirs up, meaning, possibly it's ready for cleansing or whatever the case may be. So as he goes to go in, somebody runs in past him because he's lame. So he had no man to help him to put him in the pool. Now watch this, yeah, verse 8. Verse 8 of John chapter 5. Yahawashi saith unto him, rise, take up thy bed and walk. Just like that. See, Yahawashi commanded him to rise, take up your bed and walk. Now watch this, verse 9. And immediately the man was made whole. See, just as the words of Yahawashi, he was cleansed, he was made whole, yeah? Watch, I'll read on. Yeah. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. And on the same, listen to this, and on the same day was the Sabbath. So this was done on the Sabbath. Now we get to verse 10. John chapter 5 verse 10. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, Is it the Sabbath day? It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. So now they, said to him, it's the Sabbath day. You shouldn't be carrying your bed. Now let me read on. Listen to this. Verse 14. I'm going to jump down to verse 14 because I don't want to go through the whole chapter. Verse 14. Afterward, YAHAWASHI finding him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon thee. So showing you what happened to him is because of his sins. He was judged. This is why he was lame. So that's why YAHAWASHI said, sin no more. Stop breaking the Most High God's laws. Otherwise, a worse thing may come upon you. That's what YAHAWASHI said to him. Now watch this, yeah? Verse 15. The man departed and told the Jews that it was YAHAWASHI, which is Christ, which had made him whole. Verse 16. And therefore did the Jews persecute YAHAWASHI, which is you call Jesus, and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. Now we're going to soon come down to the verse I started at. Now, verse 17. Listen to this. But YAHAWASHI answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. So he said, the way how his Father works is the way how he works. Now, this is why now they said this is the verse I started at, verse 18. So it's John chapter 5, verse 18. Therefore, because he had said that, and he healed somebody on the Sabbath day. Now it says, verse 18, therefore the Jews sought more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that the Most High, which is God, was his Father, making himself equal with the Most High. Now, so you see, that it was an accusation, not that the fact that he actually broke the Sabbath. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Now watch this, because they said he made himself equal with the Most High, which he didn't. Watch this, because even when you read on, it's going to show you that. Watch this, yeah? Verse 19. Then answered YAHAWASHI and said unto them, Verily, verily, which is truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son, hear that? He said, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. Verse 20. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. So you see, he never ever said he was equal to the Father, but they accused him because they sought to kill him. So that verse is an accusation. That's what it is, yeah? So you see, when you read on, it even shows you he didn't ever say he was equal. And watch this about the Sabbath day. I'm going to show you this. Watch this, yeah? This is Matthew. I'm going to jump to the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 1. I'm going to read right down to verse 5. Listen to this. Matthew chapter 12, verse 1. And it reads, At that time, YAHAWASHI, which is Jesus, yeah? YAHAWASHI, on the Sabbath day, listen to this, on the Sabbath day through the corn. And his disciples were hungered, so his disciples were hungry, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But listen to verse 2. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. Verse 3, but he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was an hungered, and they that were with him? Listen to this, verse 4. How he entered into the house of the Most High and did eat the showbread. Because you've got to remember, the showbread wasn't lawful to anybody to eat but to the priests, yeah? And eat the showbread. Listen to this. Which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. You see, just like what I said. Now listen to verse 5. Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? Because you see that? So he's teaching them something. That haven't you read that the priests on the Sabbath day, they do the work of the, in the temple, like minister and do the priest. But they're, the priest's work, but they're blameless. So they're not profaning the Sabbath day. Now, watch this. I'm going to jump to, where are we? Here we go. Listen to this, yeah? I'm going to stay in Matthew 12, but jump down to verse 11. Watch this. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 11. And it reads, And he said unto them, Yahushua said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep? And if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? Listen to verse 12. Now, verse 12 is key. Verse 12, how much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath day. Now there's the point. So you see, Yahushua didn't break the Sabbath. He healed a man on the Sabbath. It is well to do well on the Sabbath day. So that is lawful. So you see, that verse was an accusation. Didn't mean he actually broke the Sabbath. Yahushua knew the law to a T. Now, let me show you something else in the law. Watch this, yeah? Watch this, yeah? This is John chapter 7 and verse 23, and it reads, If a man on the Sabbath day receive circumcision, meaning in the flesh, that the law of Moses should not be broken. Are ye angry at me because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day? Now you see, he's teaching them something, because what does the law say about being on the 8th day when a male child is born? Watch this. Genesis chapter 17 verse 12, and it reads, And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generation, he that is born in the house or brought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. So showing you that a male child born on the 8th day was supposed to be circumcised in the flesh, keeping that law, yeah? And showing you, because a lot of these Christians like to say, oh, you didn't have to keep the Sabbath. But let me show you that the Messiah kept the Sabbath, and the Sabbath was kept still well after the Messiah was crucified and resurrected. Now watch this. This is Luke chapter 4 verse 14, and it reads, And Yahushua returned, which is Jesus, and Yahushua returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went about a fame of him through all the regions round about, and he taught in their synagogue, being glorified of all. Now watch verse 16. So lucky I read 14 and 15 just then. Verse 16, watch this. And this is the point I want. Verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, so something he did regular, because that's what a custom is. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up to read. So you see, he continually did that on the Sabbath day. He said, and as his custom was. And watch this now. I'm going to jump to the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 2. Now this is Paul, yeah? Watch this. And Paul, as his manner was, as his custom was, same as what it said earlier with Yahushua in the book of Luke. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them the 3 Sabbath days, reasoning with them out of the scriptures. Now you might say, yeah, but there was only 3 Sabbaths. But watch this. I'm going to going to jump to the book of Acts. Stay in Acts, Salaki, and read chapter 15, verse 21. Watch this. Acts chapter 15, verse 21, and it reads, "For Moses of old time has in every city them that preached him." They preached Moses, which is the law. That's what they were preaching. Listen to this. "Being read in the synagogue every Sabbath day." See, they kept the Sabbath, so you can't say they didn't. So, when you try to use John chapter 5 verse 18 to say YAHAWASHI broke the Sabbath and he made himself equal with the Most High, he never broke the Sabbath, and this is what he even said. Let's see if he actually made himself equal with the Most High. Watch this. Let me quickly read this, yeah? I'm about to time out soon. Watch this, yeah? I'm going to jump to the book of John chapter 14 verse 28. Listen to this. John chapter 14 verse 28, it says, and it reads, "Ye have heard how I said unto you, I go away and come again unto you. If ye loved me, ye would rejoice, because I said I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I." Hear that? That's out his own mouth. So he never made himself equal with God. And another thing they like to say quickly, they like to use this verse to try to say that he is the Father. They listen to this. John chapter 10 verse 30. "I and my Father are one." Now, all he's showing you that he and his Father is like-minded. Yeah? What he does is because his Father showed him. I showed you that in an earlier verse. Well, you know what? I've run out of time. There was a few more scriptures I would have liked to brought out, but showing you that they are like-minded, they are unison, but they are not the same person. He never said he was his Father. He said his Father is greater than him. This is Yasharallah. We out.